Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That's me and friends. Our friend today is our own delightful, wonderful Catherine Seo. Hi, Catherine. How are you this morning?
Hi, Gail, and everybody else. I have a background, so I keep disappearing.
You
Parts
do.
of my body keep disappearing.
Yeah, portions. Every now and then your whole head goes away, but
Right.
it,
I just love the background so much. It's the best Christmas background I've found. It has a fireplace, and
yeah.
it's very British. Someone said it looks very much like England. I was like, yeah, I'm in New England, so that works.
That'll work. That'll work. Oh, you guys, Catherine, it's so good to see you. We haven't been able to see you recently. We've been doing a lot of things. We've been doing the C6 and the Thriving Through the Holidays, which was fabulous. And you've been doing some amazing things to take care of yourself recently. You've decided to do some things that you weren't able to do for quite a while. What kind of things have you been doing to take care of yourself?
Well, let's see. For those of you who might not know, because why should you know if you haven't been on some of the previous Facebook Lives? But I have been under the weather, as they say. I've been sick. I went down to South Carolina, and the flight did me in. It was 4 flights round trip because it was short flights, and my lymphedema has had a serious flare up. So let's see. So first and foremost, for those of us with lipedema that can become lymphedema, it's good to know to be very cautious when you fly. Someone gave me a tip that I didn't consciously do, but to fast for 24 hours before you fly can help with the swelling. I thought that was a good tip. Somebody talked about that when we were in, I think, the Q&A. But what I've been doing recently is I'm back in the pool, which I love. So I have not been regularly in the pool since 2020, since before the pandemic, because I had my hip replacement in 2019, and then in 2020 is when the pool closed. So I'd been going to this fabulous pool. I loved this pool. And and they shut down during the pandemic, and then I tried to find another pool, and shortly after I got home, um I my hairdresser, I went to get my hair cut because it was so unruly. So and Angela said that she'd found this new pool, and I'm like, oh. So literally, after she finished cutting my hair, I went home, grabbed a bathing suit and my swim gear, and went with her to the pool, and it has been fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Um, Often we talk about the kind of movement that supports lymphedema and lipedema, and the pool is up there. I don't swim. I'm always amazed at all of the people in the other lanes because there are all these lap lanes that are
Right.
swimming laps. And I look at them and they're like, there's one woman who just swims and swims. She gets to the end of the lane and flips over.
Yes.
She flips over. The people who swim do this.
Yes.
They flip. They just go boom. And I'm always like, huh? How did she do
It's
that?
called the flip turn. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
this. I didn't
Yeah, I
know
can do
this.
one.
Oh my God. It's so amazing. I just look, I walk. I do walking, and I have exercise things and I do exercises with these like water barbells that are
Mhm.
small. So I've been going almost every day. I was scheduled to go this morning at 5:15. I leave the house at 4:30 and I go there and I'm there usually by 5 a.m. I'm an early morning person, so for me, it's the timing is perfect.
Yes. Great.
And but it's been wonderful. And I'm talking about it some because Gail and I were chatting before we got on, and we were saying, and I was saying, I feel like my body's having a hissy fit. It's like I have hissy fits now and again, but my body is because since I got home from South Carolina, it's just been a spiraling. We think I might have some truncal edema, and for various reasons, it got stimulated, and I'm trying to sort it all out. It's really what it
Yeah.
is.
Catherine
Um,
Catherine, we have a question from Debbie Sharo. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it up so we can see I'll see it. She says, "When you go into a heated pool, do you get really cold and it's hard to get warm?" That's why she doesn't go. Do you have any suggestions? Because she loves the pool.
I love the pool. Same. I can't quite fathom how people wear bathing suits only. So I wear leggings that start at my feet. They're swim leggings. Um, and they're lycra, so they're like compression, which really is helpful. So they go from my feet toeless, from my feet up to under my boobs. So they're high waisted, and I'm short waisted, so it somehow works out. Then I put on a swimsuit, and then I have a swim jacket. So the jacket goes from my hands up to my neck. There's very little that's naked. But it helps because it you can get cold, and that's how I've dealt with it. I have also dealt with it for compression. I like having the compression on when I'm in the pool. The only hard part is getting it off because right after the pool, I have to pee so badly. So I'm jiggling while I'm taking off my tights.
Yeah. You know, I went to the Sea Cortez, which is Baja California, the Mexico and Baja California. It's the sea that's right in there, and it's fairly chilly in February. And I went there in February. And as I was preparing for that, I learned how to move in a wetsuit jacket, and that wetsuit jacket in the pool was fabulous. Now it rode up on me because it floats, right? And it was up here. But what I ended up doing was putting a strap on it. And so I could strap it down under my legs. So it would hold down. And I was doing full like water aerobics classes with it.
Mhm.
And then I have my web fingers. So I have swim webs so that I could pull through the water. Those kept me warm in the water, but when I got out, I would get cold. Um, but one of the things that I would do, and I think Debbie's also asking, it's when she gets out of the pool and takes a warm shower afterward. What I found for me was as soon as I could get out, I didn't put on any clothes except for a fresh, warm hoodie that I'd taken out of the dryer. When I'd left home, I'd rolled it up and put it in my bag, so it was still warm. I have a thing about hoodies, and I could get that on after I got out of that after I first got dried off out of the shower because the air in the gyms are so cold. But, that's when sh
And my and And my new club, because I thought I'd been going forever. I felt like I've been going for 6 months, but it's like more like 6 weeks now. Yeah, 6 weeks. Um, they have a steam room and a sauna.
And you
So I make sure that the steam room is all set up before I go into the shower. So I go into the steam room and then I go into the sauna. And oh my God, it's so fabulous. You feel so toasty.
yeah. And that those changes in temperatures aren't necessarily harmful to us. You know, we do feel cold, and then to get warm as we get warmed back up, it's important to bring our core temperature back up where it needs to be so that we're not miserable. But yeah, I find that those little helpful tips might encourage somebody else to go into the pool. When you look for a pool, what is it that you look for?
Oh, eh, I say again and again and again, we are all unique. And the thing that I need is I'm short. So I need to walk. And so this pool is 4.5 feet and I'm 5 feet. So it's like it's not that much room to spare. So for me, and I like a pool that isn't gradated because some of the pools you go from, being here to being
Right.
like way up. You can't see my hand, but
Yeah, but I know
it's
what
like overhead. You know
I
what
know
I
what you
mean?
mean,
So, yeah, so this pool, the other is it has to be heated. It
right?
needs to be a heated pool, especially now because we're in sub-zero weather right now as part of the blizzard that's going on in the US. The Northeast has mostly cold. Thank God, no snow and ice, but mostly just cold, which is why I'm in my hoodie. My hoodie, I love this. This is so warm. um,
Yeah, so Debbie says that, and she goes where the lower water is for her, and she's the only one in it. Yeah, sometimes you might be the only walker, in it. And I know that we have several women who have reported to us the different types of exercises that they do in the pool. I know that they'll like those of them. Okay, those of us who go to Miranda, we learn different exercises, and so then they'd use those in the pool. And I probably would swim myself until I got too tired to swim. But I like the water to go, like, up into my armpit, so probably the 4 foot or 4.5 feet water, because I like to be able to reach out and pull my arms through the water as I
mhm.
move through the water, because I really need that for my arms as well. Another thing that some of our women have talked about is getting in and out of the pool. Is it difficult for you, or are there steps or handrails that are
You know,
properly
the
made?
only yeah, the only thing that I didn't like about the other pool, so the other pool that I went to for years was at the top of the Hyatt Regency in Cambridge. So it had a wonderful view of the city of Boston, and it was a wonderful pool. It was salt water, but it didn't have a staircase into the pool.
Oh,
What it had was a ladder, and I could never do the ladder.
it's
At the time, I was struggling with my hip, and I just couldn't do it. So they had a handicap chair that most pools will have it, especially if they do any kind of accommodations. And you sit in the chair, and the chair puts you into the pool. And this pool has the same thing, but it has a staircase. So it has stairs into the pool. So I can use the stairs. And that, again, every pool has its, you know, pluses and minuses, its pros and its cons. This staircase makes all the difference in the world for me. And I think for those of us who struggle with the issues that we have. So it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
So I'm looking at finding a pool that I can use this winter. And then another thing that's difficult is finding the time to do it. You've got to it's got to meet your schedule, or you've got to reschedule your life to be able to do it. And for me, one of the problems with the pool is I have to drive to the next town, and there's I either have to drive with the rush hour traffic, which is gonna take me forever to get there, or I have to find a different time to go if I'm gonna go in the morning, and then life gets away from us, and so that's one of the things that I have to learn to set my goal. This is what I'm doing and stick with it. I see that we have 20 people in here, and I'm only seeing one person responding. So if you're here listening to us this morning, please put where you're coming from. I know that the morning time we get a different audience. Often we get people from Europe, and that's one of the reasons that we do this morning time is to make sure we catch all time zones. So please make sure that you throw your name and where you're from in the comments so that we can welcome you. So hi Debbie, it's good to talk to you this morning. So far she's been the one who's been sharing and questioning. So we have an event coming up. It's called a webinar, kind of, because we no longer use the famous webinar format where you show up and listen and walk away. We're using a meeting format where you show up and you get to join the conversation. And so we still call it a webinar, and it's a free webinar. It's happening on Thursday, day after tomorrow, and it's going to be about the top tips that we have discovered ourselves over the last 10 years. But we want to also hear from you about your top tips that you would like to share with the lipedema community. So make sure that you register for that if you haven't registered for it yet. I'm putting that in the comments, and it is free. And if you register and you're not able to attend, there will always be a replay. But we won't know that you need that replay unless you register. And then we can send you a replay link. Um, so hello, Mary. It's
So
good.
let me say a quick hi. We have a bunch of folks that signed on. So let me say hi, Maureen. I think that's how I say it. Maureen
Uh-huh.
from San Diego and Karen from Michigan. Oh my God, it's so cold there right now. Edith from Savannah, not so cold there. Lisa, Michigan. Oh my God, the news looks so difficult. Lulu from Michigan too. Wow. We got a whole bunch of people from Michigan.
And
Um,
Mary's from Illinois.
yeah. And,
Yeah. And
and
then hi,
then
Mary and Mary
who's one?
Kay.
Hi, Mary Kay.
Mary Kay says,
Oh,
here, I'll share this.
yeah.
I have started taking 20-minute sauna at least 5 days out of the week, followed by a 3 to 4 minute cold shower. It feels fabulous. I'm fortunate to have a sauna in my home. The heat does not seem to cause me inflammation. I usually do MLD while I'm in the sauna. Is it a infrared sauna, Mary? I know that we have an infrared sauna at our house too, and I love it.
Is it a is it like a sleeping bag infrared sauna or is it an actual room?
Ours is Uh, a chamber, I guess. It fits inside it pokes out of the we took the closet doors off of the room. It's a wooden box with a glass door. It's a sauna, it's a chamber, and we slid it. It fits into the closet, so it only pokes out of the closet of, maybe a foot, 6 inches to a foot. But yeah, it's got its little wooden seat. It's all it smells so good. Anyway, so it's a I think it's redwood sauna. It's beautiful. When our child had our child, she's an adult, but when our kid had congestive heart failure, was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, she bought it for the house, and so that was in 2019. And if one of us doesn't feel so well, we'll go have a sauna sit a couple of times, get our body temperatures up and down a little bit, and we feel better. So yes, it's not a blanket. However, they do sell infrared blankets too. They sell sauna blankets also. I've seen those
They
advertised
do.
recently. And they're probably a
Um,
lot less space consuming. They have a smaller footprint, but I think they do well. Um,
yeah, I tried to buy a series of infrared saunas, but it was too much of a trek here.
yeah,
Oh, hi,
yeah.
Phyllis.
Marion's here from the UK. Hi, Marion. It's good to see you today. Um, oh, wow. Look at this. She says she swims in a great pool which has all facilities, including a floor which can raise for short people. So the floor must be a mesh floor that raises up so you can walk on. Oh, that's wonderful. That's cool. And Phyllis is here. Let's see who else is here. What do we have to talk about? Edith says it's 36 degrees. That's that's warm. For me, we've been in the 20s and the teens. Lulu says that she has difficulty with extreme temperatures, so she avoids things like hot tubs, hot saunas, and then the extreme cold there in Michigan is pretty rough too. Sometimes extremes get us. They really do. And our bodies just don't react the way that they used to, maybe when we were younger, or maybe when we weren't so far progressed in with lipedema. I was going to ask you a question, Catherine, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, I can come up with an
Okay,
answer.
cool.
We are having we usually have a town hall at the end of the year where we talk about what we've done and what we're planning to do. And this year we are doing it a little differently. That one of the reasons we've been talking about tips. When I came back from the trip to South Carolina, I became very clear that I didn't want this to happen to anyone else. So we had a special fireside chat. And as we were sharing the advice that so many people in the community, it's like, we all have learned something from our own experiences, but so has everyone else. So we did a bit of a pivot, and our end of year is on Thursday. I think Gail mentioned it, which is on the 29th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're calling it the top tips from the past decade. We didn't want to limit it to the year because we've been doing this for a long time. And over the years, we've found more and more things that can be supportive of managing our chronic conditions and how we can live in a way that feels vibrant, that feels, like we're living our lives and not um, stopping what we're doing. I say that with some caution because there are some things that I have changed. But I think that our purpose is really to open up because in the community, there's so many experiences. So, Gail and myself and Leslyn and Siobhan will all be sharing a bit from our experiences. And then inviting you all to do the same. So we've got a couple hundred people registered. So if you haven't already, Gail put it in the chat. There's a link to register. The webinar is, I, I'm not quite sure what to call it either, because
I
it's
think
not a webinar. It's not it's more like a sharing.
I think that the term town hall can be very, I think it's more on how we are going to run it,
Yeah.
because with webinars, the what we discovered with webinars is the interaction isn't the same, and we want the community to have a conversation. We want we wanna hear what you have to say, and we want this to be the community's top tips, not what did Gail, Siobhan, Leslin, and Catherine discover, but what has the whole community discovered? And we want you to share it. And the um, a webinar format doesn't allow that. And so that's one of the reasons that we don't know what to call it because it's really not a webinar. It's a meeting.
Yeah.
It's a meeting of the
It's
minds.
yeah, it's somewhat a webinar, somewhat a meeting, mostly sharing within the community,
Yeah.
really.
And it's gonna be amazing because when you're able to share with somebody else what you've done, and you're able to listen with curiosity and to somebody else who has gone through something similar, but might have found a different answer, for what they're dealing with, or might have a question that you can answer, then that stimulates your well-being as you go, "Oh, yeah, and I can do this. Oh, and that worked for her too," I was on the right track. So there's a lot of affirmation and there's a lot of curiosity, and
Mhm.
I'm excited about this event because it's going to open up all kinds of ideas for us to explore through the new year.
Let me add one other thing about it. We'll chat a little bit about what's coming up for next year. One of the things I was writing earlier when I sent out the newsletter for our membership group, the tribe, and I was writing, a friend of mine once said to me, make sure you say goodbye, a full, complete goodbye to that which is done and completed. So this way you can open yourself to whatever's new, whatever's next. Because if you're holding on to some of the tchotchkes from the past, it can weigh you down. I thought that was such good wisdom. And so I've often, engaged in that. And so I personally use the last week of the year to do an inventory. You know, what did I do? What am I happy with? What did I learn? Because even the mistakes, one of the things I learned is I'm not the best email sender. I always make mistakes in the dates, but that is what it is. Um, you know, but what did I learn? And how do I take that into whatever's next in a way that I can fully embrace and be open to whatever is presenting itself? Um, so we're going to be looking a little bit at that. The other thing is oh, I'm back.
Okay, I was
I'm
like,
so,
you've
I know my internet's been spotty. Our tribe community usually gets opened once a year, which is in June for Lipedema Awareness Month. And we got requests from people, so we opened it after the last heart to heart event. And there were a number of people who missed that opportunity. And now it's closed until June. So we talked about it and decided that we would open it up over the weekend, over New Year's weekend. It's only going to be open for a couple of days. So if it's something you're interested in, make sure you sign up because it won't be open again until the end of June, which is when we typically open it up. And it is such a wonderful, wonderful group experience. It really is a community where people support one another, and which is the whole purpose of what we're doing. It's, you know, the quote that I love is from Helen Keller, where she says, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. There's an African proverb too. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go, oh, I got to find it. Talk for a minute while I
Okay.
find that.
So, so she's busy looking that up right now. Um, Kat, somebody wants to know. Karen wants to know if your jacket's long or short. Her jacket is her new blanket that she's wearing. It's called a shooty or a
It's Udi.
Udi.
Udi. It's a hoodie without the H. An
Oh,
Udi.
Udi. And it's
Oh my
fluffy.
God, I'm in love. I didn't think I could fall in love with something that is inanimate. But this one has, I'm ready to give it a name. Oh, it keeps me warm. Oh, it's so cold. Okay, I found it. Hold on. It's an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I like that one.
I
That
like
was
that
another,
too.
that's another one in terms of our community. Um, there's so much in the chat.
I want to share this one from Lulu. In joining this group, I have found the best support. Where I stand now, I would like to find a way to make positive impact on us all. I don't know if it has been addressed in the past. How can we get active to encourage the medical and insurance communities to take this seriously, to bring this into the fold of education at the level of where medical schools address heart disease? A political movement, for lack of a better way to state it, to support us as a whole now and in the future. And isn't that the truth? Because look how long Heather was working on the Lymphedema Treatment Act, trying to get that through. It took her 10 years, and it
Hmm.
just went through this year. And we didn't know
Yeah,
at one
and
point.
Biden is signing it into law. Yeah, it's getting signed into law this week. And I just want to say that that is huge breakthrough. Um, our compression garments are not covered by insurance because there's a gap in the insurance, in the Medicare documentation where it defines different categories. So compression garments don't fit into the only category that exists called DME, or durable medical equipment. And because it doesn't fit the category, but it doesn't fit anything else. So that's the work that Heather Ferguson and her team have been working on for 10 years. It's amazing. Just passed. It had to pass the House, then it had to pass the Senate, and then it had to go back. And it was included in the omnibus, which is the final bill of the year and of this Congress. And now they're shut down until next week. But the fact that it passed was just miraculous.
Yeah, it was quite amazing as many of us were posting it on every social media site that we could post it on to please call your senators and leave messages and stuff. I was getting responses that said, you know, why is this year different than other years? They're not going to do anything with it. Um, there's a group here in Idaho that told us how our senators felt that why are we carving something out for somebody? We need to just fix the whole thing, although the whole thing wasn't being fixed, right? And and they were just like, yeah, I'm not going to be voting on it. And it's kind of like it's not worth their time or something when we have fought so long and hard for this. And I say we, but I mean, people in our community, not me personally, because I wasn't even aware I had lipedema till a couple of years ago. So there's so much more awareness now about all.
Yeah, I was in Washington, D.C. with Heather and her team lobbying in 2015.
Wow.
Um, she would bring a group to, and at that point, Chuck Schumer, who is now the majority leader, he was the sponsor of this bill. So he was very much involved in it all. So it's fascinating to see what happens, but it's persistence. It really is persistence. And back to what Lulu said, because Lulu is saying what we've said again and again and again. There's one other opportunity for those who are interested. Starting in January, we are. So there's an old wives' tale, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's one that I've embraced and used throughout my entire life, which is what you're focused on January 1st, the first day of the year, will have a ripple effect into your entire year. So, taking that to heart, we're actually having a wisdom circle. So, we have been working together as a group, whoever's interested, in looking at what can we know about lipedema and how can we collectively sort of through group intelligence learn more about any particular area. So we are having a meeting um, on the 1st, which is Sunday afternoon, where we're going to be diving into the topics that we're going to be engaged in for research, our own research, what we call citizen science, where N equals one, which is N in research means the population that you're studying, and we're studying ourselves. We are our own labs. And Dr. Carmody, who is our medical advisor, is part of this, and we've been working together for a long time. For those of you who were at the event in October, we talked about this whole notion of emergent strategies that when a group of like minded folks come together to explore, there's a level of knowledge and understanding that can emerge. Isn't that fun? I love it.
I do too. And
I think it's true too.
So Catherine, there might be some listeners with us today who have not been involved with that yet. There's an application process to come in. It's kind of like a
Uh, we just ask that those who come are part of tribe. That's really
right.
what we've done.
And
So
and so
so
write to Catherine if you're interested in this. And
oh yeah, there it is.
yeah,
Send me an email.
send her an email, and it's just Catherine. I say just it's marvelously Catherine at lipedema-simplified.org. And you can also write to me, Gail, Gail, at lipedema-simplified.org. But Catherine's the one who would be able to answer your questions on that. It's quite amazing. We've been working for 2 months already, putting ideas together, trying to develop how we're going to handle it moving forward. And it's taking some time. It's hard to be able to come to a consensus with a group of people who are all coming from different backgrounds, but we know we want a consensus on what we're going to do. and we're gonna be working in small groups, and from what we understand, and, for a year on finding out what's gonna emerge from this group on where we're gonna move forward next. So it's really exciting, and that starts on January 1st, right? Thank you, I gotta put that in my calendar. Thank you everybody so much for being here today with us. Make sure that you're able um, to register for our webinar, meeting, town hall, gathering, sharing that we're gonna do on Thursday. Um, and I hope that everybody here is having a wonderful holiday season. You're staying warm if you're up here in the northwest, northeast, here in the United States, Canada. And if you're in other parts of the world, we hope that you're warm too. Catherine, if there is one thing that you want to send as a message to echo around the world, what would it be?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because Debbie put in the chat about she found someone to do therapy, but it's a 45-minute drive one way. You're worth it. That's what I can say. You know, a 45-minute drive, it seems like it's a great effort, and in some ways it is, but you're worth it. And, you know, get a audiobook, get music that you love, sing for 45 minutes as you drive there and back. You're worth it.
You're worth it. Yeah. And with that, I want you guys to all know you are not alone, and there's hope, and we care. We're here for you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day today, and we will talk to you next time.